Here's the thing. I never thought in a million years that I would be training for a bikini competition at 52 years old. But here I am doing it. I can't even believe it. In fact, if you would have talked to me 5 years ago and said, "Hey, Roseanne, do you think you would be willing to put on a bikini and a pair of high heels and step on a stage in front of a bunch of judges and an audience to flaunt your stuff and do a couple of different poses and flip your hair around? Do you think you would do that?" And honestly, the answer is I would have laughed my butt off. I would have said, no way. And I'm going to tell you why I would have said no way later on in this video. But for now, I just want you to know that this is a big deal for me. And I can't wait to tell you everything I have learned in this process, to explain to you why I made the decision to do it, and yeah, hopefully inspire you. So let's go. Hey, welcome back to Here's the Thing. My name is Roseanne, and I'm so glad that you're here. If you're new here, drop a comment below, say hello to me, introduce yourself so that I can engage with you and get to know you a little bit. But thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. I hope that what I have to share with you today inspires you, gives you hope, and gives you encouragement for the future. So let me get started. Let me just dig right into what crazy thing caused me to want to train for a bikini competition at 52 years old. Okay, so a little backstory. When I was running my nutrition and fitness coaching business not that long ago, I had some regular clients, some wonderful ladies who would come in and train with me multiple times a week. And as you can imagine, after training them for a couple of years and seeing them multiple times a week, we became really good friends in that process. Well, the conversations that we would have would be both back and forth, that comparison of things that you see in social media, what is considered beautiful in a physique, what is considered sexy, what would make somebody feel confident. In those discussions, some of the topics that would come up would be like bikini and bodybuilding competitors, and specifically like the bikini competition women, and how skin and bones and muscle they look when they step on stage. And how do you get to that kind of a physique and have it be safe and healthy? With all of the training that I had had, every time I would see that kind of a physique, I would think to myself, that's not healthy. It is not healthy to be that rail thin, to have that little amount of body fat on your body. It's not good for your hormones. It's not good for aging. It's not good for cognitive function. Like, there's just so many reasons that it's not healthy. And so I had in my mind, I will never train for a bikini competition because I'm not willing to put my health on the line simply to have this particular physique. And I preached that to my clients frequently. Well, fast forward a couple of years, a series of events happen. I got older. I went through menopause. My body was changing. My stress levels were increasing. So I had a lot more cortisol flowing through my body. You mix that with going through menopause and having the hormonal imbalances of that, not sleeping very much at night because I was stressed out beyond imagination, just being an army of one, single mom, running my own business, just a lot going on. And I remember literally like waking up one day and looking in the mirror and just asking myself, who are you? What in the hell happened to you? Like, I didn't even recognize myself anymore. I could see that I didn't have the muscle definition that I once had. despite the fact that I had been working out regularly, eating the right foods, doing all the things that I was teaching my clients to do, and they were getting results, but I was doing these things and it was like everything, all the effort I was putting forth was actually making my body revert the opposite direction of what I wanted it to go. And I couldn't understand what was going on. Why was this happening? As this all started to happen, like my confidence started to decrease. Then a series of events led to me making the decision to shut down my business, which I decided to shut down my business and to pivot into a different industry. But in the process of doing that, I also had all this negative self chatter going on in my brain. You're a failure. You couldn't keep your business open. You had to switch gears. No wonder people won't hire you. Look at yourself when you look in the mirror. You don't look like a fitness coach. You don't look like somebody who takes good care of themselves. Like my eyes had gotten all sunken in and my skin was terrible. I just looked like I was literally like 20 years older than I actually was. I don't know if you've ever had a moment where you've had like that negative self chatter, but once it starts, it becomes this vicious cycle of more and more and more. And it just brings you down even more into the pit of hell where you feel like you just can't pull yourself out of it. And that's kind of where I was at that point. So this was 7 months ago from the recording of this video. 7 months ago is where I felt like I had no confidence left. I did not feel beautiful. I felt like a failure. I felt like I was just unworthy of love. I felt like, why would my boyfriend want anything to do with me? I'm surprised he hasn't left me for some other hot babe. Like all these things were going on in my head, thinking, I just wasn't worth anything because I had let myself go. Or it wasn't even that I had let myself go because I didn't feel like I had let myself go, but it was just, I didn't know what to do. I was confused as to how I could be doing all the right things and just wake up one day and have fat rolls and the number on the scale be higher and like just look like I was 20 years older. It just, none of it made any sense to me, even though I had been trained in all of this stuff. But sometimes even the trainer, even the coach needs a trainer or a coach to be on the outside looking in. Because if you're too close to everything that's happening, you can miss a lot of what's actually happening. Sometimes it takes another set of eyes from the outside to see what's happening and to help shift your direction, shift your path, and help you get back on track. What happened was I had this like massive emotional meltdown. And I was like, okay, I know that the only way I get out of this situation, the only way I fix this is I got to hire somebody else. I have to, one, come up with a big lofty goal that I can chase that focuses on me and only me, because for so many years I had been pouring out everything that I had to everybody around me, to all of my clients, to my children, to my boyfriend, to my family, to everybody, to my friends, to everybody except for me. And I needed something or somebody that was going to shift that focus to me, pour back into me, and help me rediscover myself and rebuild my confidence and rebuild my health and get my life back on track. So as I started thinking about it, I was like, what is one really, really hard thing that I can do that will force the issue of me getting back on track? I could step on stage in a bikini and high heels in front of a whole bunch of judges and a whole bunch of people, and that thought of doing that, one, I know it's a lot of hard work to build the body and the muscle and the physique to get there. Two, I know it takes a lot of discipline in the kitchen to do that. And three, it takes a lot of confidence to do that. And how do you get that confidence? By doing the work that gets you to the point of being able to step on stage. So, right then and there, I made the decision that I was going to add to my bucket list stepping on stage in a bikini competition. And I was going to give myself 1 year to train for it in a way that was safe, healthy, sustainable, that included aspects of mindset, that included aspects of stress reduction, sleep, hydration, nutrition, fitness, coaching, all of it. That's when I reached out to Warrior Babe. I don't know if you've heard of them or not, but I reached out to Warrior Babe. I had been watching the podcast on the YouTube channel. I'd been for Warrior Babe. It's their podcast is called The Macro Hour. So I had been watching that, listening to it in the car for 2 years before I made the decision to actually reach out to them. And what caused me to reach out to them for this training is that I knew that they had 50 some odd coaches, I think it is, on staff. And I know that the co-founder of Warrior Babe used to do bodybuilding competitions. I know that some of the coaches have done various competitions, physique related competitions. So I was like, I'm going to have them train me because they obviously know what they're doing. They're not there to just train people for, competitions. They're there to help people get healthy, lose weight, achieve whatever your health and wellness goals are. Mine happen to be, I need somebody to train me to get to the point where I can step on stage, to walk me through that process. And so I called them, and they connected me with one of their coaches that is around the same age, who has stepped on stage for a bikini competition. So she has been there, done that. And it's been freaking fantastic. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it next. All right. But first, just to reiterate, I am not doing this so that I can look hot in a bikini. Although looking hot in a bikini kind of sounds awesome. But that's not why I am doing this. This is about reclaiming and rebuilding my confidence after years and years of stress, of hormonal shifts, of self-doubt. It's about finding me. It's about becoming beautiful and confident from the inside out. And menopause, it hit me hard. And I would suspect that if you're watching this and you're nodding your head, I would suspect menopause has hit you hard too, because it really takes a lot of us by surprise. There's just something that happens when those hormones just start taking a nosedive. Everything changes. I also decided to do this because I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to prove to myself that age is only a number, that I don't expire. My worth and my value and my capability to achieve hard things, it doesn't expire after I turn 50 years old. I'm 52 years old, but I feel like I'm 35 on the inside. So as long as I continue to feel useful on the inside, there's nothing that's going to stop me from living my best life at any age. And lastly, I'm doing this for me, but I'm also doing it for all the other women out there who understand what it feels like to have that thriving, confident, outgoing, fun-loving personality, and then just one day wake up and be like, what happened to me? Like, it's for you. If you've experienced that, that's why I'm doing this, is to inspire you, to help you to know that maybe for you, it's not stepping on stage in a bikini competition, but if you can come up with something hard to do and achieve it work towards it and achieve it and prove to yourself that you can do it, that in and of itself will start to build your confidence up again and make you feel worthy and lovable and all of the things. All right. So now I want to talk about what training for this bikini competition has taught me so far. The first thing it has really opened my eyes to is the difference between discipline and motivation. So I'm not always feeling motivated to do the work that needs to be done, even though it's always been a part of my lifestyle. Training for a bikini competition is not just going through the motions when you go to step in the gym to do your workout. It's really making that effort to do progressive overload. It's making that mind muscle connection. It's doing hard things in the gym. It's lifting heavier than I think I'm capable of lifting and feeling the burn and having to really grunt and let those, you know, when you go to the gym and you hear all the muscle heads around you and they're like, ah, as they're lifting weights. Well, yeah, I'm doing that. I'm becoming a muscle head. Like, I don't always feel like doing it, but I do it anyway. And when I do it anyway, that helps to build grit. And grit is something that I've always had in abundance. But as I was going through that last year or so of running my business, and I was burned out, stressed out, tired, like I just lost some of that grit. I lost the ability to grab onto it and embrace it and apply it, implement it in my day-to-day choices. And so I'm rebuilding that grit and that ability to really work hard. But it is requiring a lot of discipline. It's requiring me to really challenge myself to say no to the excuses and you know, to put in the reps, to work hard. It's challenging me in making sure that my schedule works with my workouts. I work out 4 times a week for strength training, 2 upper body sessions and 2 lower body sessions. There's steady state cardio in between. There's getting a certain amount of steps every day. It takes an intentional effort to be very disciplined in looking at my schedule a week in advance and saying, okay, what does my workload look like? What does my schedule look like from a parenting perspective? When am I going to spend time with my boyfriend? When am I going to spend time with my kids? When am I going to get my workouts done? When am I going to do meal prep? When am I going to do meal planning? Just being disciplined in scheduling and disciplined and intentional in scheduling things and making sure that even in that moment when I'm just feeling tired, when I just don't feel like driving 30 minutes to go to the gym, when, you know, I have a home fitness space too, but I don't have all the equipment that I need for the bikini competition training. I have a lot of it, but not all of it. So there are some times when I have to do a 30-minute drive to the gym, and I have to really just tell myself, you have goals. This is part of the process of getting yourself back on track. Stop putting yourself on the back burner. You will feel better when you get your butt to the gym and do the workout and check it off the list that you accomplished it, and know that you were doing something that is moving you forward towards that end goal. It's a non-negotiable. And that's what I tell myself every damn day. It is a non-negotiable. It takes discipline. I can't just rely on motivation because I'm not always motivated. People think that motivation comes first. It doesn't. Action comes first. Motivation is what follows. So if I'm having that moment where I'm just not feeling motivated to go to the gym, for example, I just start taking action. I go in, I get changed into my workout clothes. That's action. I grab my workout bag and make sure everything's in it. That's taking action. I haven't even left my house yet, but I'm already taking action and disciplined action to get my butt to the gym. I just don't let myself overthink it too much. There's discipline and there's motivation. Motivation won't always be there. So you have to rely on being a disciplined human being. And let me tell you, if you work for a living, if you have children, if you have a house to take care of, if you have a yard to take care of, if you have pets to take care of, you have discipline, because none of that would be handled. You wouldn't still have a job if you didn't have the discipline to get yourself to work every day, right? Your kids wouldn't be very happy with you or wouldn't be thriving if you didn't have the discipline to get up and parent and take care of them and provide for their needs. Your pets would not survive if you didn't have the discipline to take them for walks and take them to the vet and brush them and bathe them and feed them and all the things that come with taking care of pets. Believe me when I tell you, you have the discipline. It's not about finding the motivation. It's about being disciplined. You have it. Make the decision that it matters and be disciplined. The next thing that I have learned in training for this bikini competition is that confidence, it's built through keeping the promises that I make to myself. So I set this big, hairy, audacious goal that I was going to step on stage at 52 years old. In 1 year, I have 17 weeks to go as of the date of this recording. I gave myself 1 year to achieve this goal. Well, what does that look like? Well, I had to break it down into smaller chunks, different phases, different training phases, right? Different aspects of what would help me to achieve that goal. Making time in my schedule, putting into practice things that create positive, healthy habits, such as a bedtime routine to making sure that I get 8 hours of sleep at night, stress management types of techniques. As I mentioned before, scheduling the workouts, being intentional about blocking off time each week to meal plan and meal prep and just have the macros all put into MyFitnessPal a week in advance. So it takes that excuse out of the picture, because I've already logged the food. Therefore, I need to follow the plan because I've already logged it. It's in taking that big, hairy, audacious goal, breaking it down into smaller chunks, smaller goals, and keeping those commitments to myself day after day, week after week, month after month. That is what has built my confidence. But it's also the more I stay consistent with the habits that will get me to that end result, that end goal of stepping on stage, the more I'm seeing change, positive change in the mirror. Doing journaling, any kind of like mindset work, reading books that are good for rewiring the stories that I'm telling myself, listening to podcasts when I'm in the car that are positive message podcasts, taking time to read my Bible and pray and journal. These are all things that help work on my mindset, which also helps to build my confidence. But if I make these commitments to myself that I'm going to do these things and then I don't follow through with them, well, then all I'm doing is programming my brain to believe that I don't keep the promises that I make to myself. And therefore, whenever I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to actually feel bad and feel worse about myself, because deep down inside, I know, well, I say I'm going to do it, but I'm actually not, because I don't do anything that I say that I'm going to do. So I'm just a loser, right? So you see how like it just brings your confidence down. But when I consistently say, this is my goal, I will achieve this goal, and I put into practice the steps that are necessary to achieve that goal, and I practice them, those habits and those steps consistently, then I'm proving to myself over and over and over again that I keep my commitments, that I will, and and I help myself to believe that I will achieve that goal. Now, I don't care, honestly, between you and me, I really don't care if I step on stage and don't win a thing. For me, it's not about winning anything. The fact that I get to the point of feeling confident enough to put on a bikini and high heels and step on stage, that right there is my win, because that was my goal. It is not to step on stage and win anything. Now, if I do, that would be awesome, but I don't really care about what the judges say once I'm there. I know my value by the time I've gotten there. I know what I'm worth. I know how hard I worked to get there. I know I have a rockin' body by the time I step on stage. In fact, I have a rockin' body right now, and I can say that. And I haven't gone through a cut or a drying period or any of that. Like, when I look in the mirror, I can't see super muscle definition, but I can see enough to know that I have a rockin' body, and I can feel the strength when I'm in the gym lifting to know that I am strong, strong, strong. And that is all that matters at the end of the day. So the third thing that I have learned in training for this bikini competition is that my body is not my enemy. It's so easy for us as women to put our body down, to find every flaw possible in our body and basically speak negative words about it. We look in the mirror and we just start picking everything apart. And even, not even that, but just, when we're out and about doing normal daily activities, oh, my knees are so bad. Oh, my hips hurt. Oh, this, oh, that, right? We put our body down in so many ways. And we need to remember that our body is not our enemy. And that's one thing that I have been learning, is that I am really, really freaking blessed to have the ability to be able to go for a walk and not have to use a walker or have somebody push me in a wheelchair. I am really, really blessed to be able to go to the gym and pick up heavy weights in the free weight section and press them up over my head and get stronger. I am really, really blessed to be able to get on the treadmill or the elliptical or the stepper machine at the gym and do whatever that exercise requires. There's a lot of people in this world that can't do that, that they physically cannot do that for whatever reason. Just reminding myself day after day that I am unbelievably blessed to be in the body that I am in, that it is not my enemy. Menopause happened, yes. And menopause, it changed me and it made me feel like my body was betraying me. But I've learned to work with it, not against it. I've learned that as I've gotten older, my body needs different things than it needed when I was younger. And probably one of the biggest things that it needs being an older woman is it needs more rest and recovery than it needed when I was younger. It needs more strength training and less cardio. It needs more anti-inflammatory lifestyle, meaning foods that don't cause inflammation, exercise that isn't overtraining that's causing inflammation. There is some inflammation that happens with exercise generally, but when we overtrain, it gives us too much inflammation in the body. And learning that, like, my body needs sleep. I need sleep. No longer can I function on 5 hours of sleep at night. I need at a bare minimum 7 hours and realistically closer to 8 or 9 hours of sleep at night. Quality sleep at night for me to be functioning at my best, for my body to be full of energy and functioning at my best. The other thing that I have learned is that my body, as an older woman and as a woman who is training for muscle growth and ultimately a bikini competition, is that my body needs carbohydrates. It needs energy, and energy comes from those carbohydrates. Healthy carbohydrates. That's a whole other video, but a lot of times people are afraid to eat carbohydrates, but hello, your vegetables are carbohydrates. So we need vegetables, we need fruit, we need whole grains. We need those foods for energy. And if we aren't eating enough of them, we're not fueling our body properly, and we're not going to have the energy that we need. So I'm really learning that things go a lot better when I listen to my body and I give it what it needs in order to thrive. And when I appreciate how strong it is, and that my heart never stops beating, and that my lungs never miss a breath. And, that when I cut myself, my body knows what to do to go to work to heal that cut. And those are things that I feel incredibly grateful for. And the more that I learn to love my body, and love that when I have laugh lines, that is a sign that I have had a fantastic life where I've smiled and laughed a lot. I know some people have stretch marks, and that's a sign that you gave birth to another human being. That's something, it's like a badge of honor almost, right? So just taking those things that you are always putting yourself down for, and asking yourself, what caused it? And look at the amazing thing that my body can do. Look at the fact that I can smile to express emotion and love and happiness and joy and all of those things. So who cares if I have little lines on my face when I'm not smiling? I guess that just means I should smile some more, right? Your body is not your enemy. And it's not my enemy. And that has been a big lesson for me. The fourth thing that I have learned on this journey to the stage is that I have learned that you are never too old to reinvent yourself. You're never too old to take on big, hairy, audacious goals or to challenge yourself. My mom used to say that you are only as old as you act. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think that there's a lot of people out there who are in their 50s who act like they're in their 70s. And as a result of acting like they're in their 70s, their body and their abilities, their cognitive function, their ability to be more youthful has diminished because they have this mindset that they're old, that they're too old for it. And your mind is really powerful, and we act on what we believe. So if we continue to tell ourselves the story that I am too old for this, I am too old to do that, I am too old, too old, too old, too old, then what we tell our brain is, you can't do it because you're too old. And our brain responds accordingly. I've learned that it's hard work to train for a bikini competition in your 50s. Like, it's really hard. The older we get, the harder it is to build muscle, to maintain muscle, to not lose muscle. You've seen like the little 80, 90-year-old guys and girls out there who are super frail, like skin hanging off their bones. They don't have any muscle in their body. They need the walker. They need assistance to get around because they have no muscle. That's because as we get older, if we're not eating enough protein, if we're not active in the gym, literally lifting heavy weights, and breaking down that muscle so that it can repair and come back stronger, then that's what happens. We just start to lose the muscle over time. So yeah, I'm learning that you're just never too old to reinvent yourself, but you might have to work a little harder as you get older, but you're definitely not too old. The fifth thing that I am learning on my journey to the stage for this bikini competition is that support systems matter. So anytime you take on a big, hairy, audacious goal, it's really important that the people who you spend the most time with are supportive of that goal. Now, that doesn't mean that if they choose not to be supportive of it, that you shouldn't chase after the goal. It just means it's going to be a little bit harder for you to achieve it. without having proper support in place. For me, my daughters and Steve, and my trainer through Warrior Babe, they are my rock on this year-long adventure of mine. They are cheering me on every step of the way. They're being supportive in making sure that, they are understanding when I say that I can't do this or I can't do that because I got to hit my macros or I have to get my workout done. They're very understanding of that, and encouraging of that too, which makes it helpful to know that, I'm not missing out on anything, that they are on board with me, that I'm not making them feel like they're not important enough. It helps so much. And honestly, Steve, he works out with me a couple days a week, which I absolutely love. And it's nice to know that he's there at the gym with me, that he is supporting me, and, that if I need him to come and spot me while I'm trying to lift heavier than I've ever lifted, he will stop his workout to come and spot me. And that just means everything to me. It's little things like, drinking alcohol when we're together. I really shouldn't be drinking any alcohol while I'm on this journey. We have had a couple glasses of wine here and there, and a few, little glasses of whiskey from time to time. But we have together as a couple cut back significantly on the amount of alcohol that we consume, for a lot of reasons, but especially because I shouldn't be drinking while I am training for this bikini competition. So he's very understanding to that and very supportive of it. And that just means the world to me. I couldn't do it without having a good support system in place. And then having my coach, my trainer there. It doesn't matter what happens. If I'm having a mindset crisis, if I'm having a day where I wake up and I step on the scale and the number's higher, which happens when you're training hard, because, you're adding muscle and you're adding in more food to bulk up. And so that number does go up on the scale, but your body is changing in positive ways. So it's not like you're gaining fat, but every once in a while I'll have that moment of, oh my gosh, how am I'm gaining weight. And, and she just kind of like talks me down off the ledge. And she reminds me that this is all part of the process and that I'm doing great. And so it's just wonderful to have her there. And she puts my workouts together for me. And she tells me what macros I need to hit. And she just holds me accountable. I check in with her every single week, giving her the data of how the week went. And she coaches me every single week on that data that I provide to her. So it has been life-changing and absolutely wonderful to have a solid support system in place. And so I definitely recommend that be a big part of your journey, regardless of what your goals are, that you have a solid support system in place to help you stay accountable, and to just keep cheering you on and encouraging you in the process. So here's the thing. When you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you don't recognize that person that's staring back at you because everything has gone to hell in a handbasket and you don't know how that happened, let me encourage you that it is not the end of your life. It is actually the moment where you get to start over, where you get to recognize that it's time for a change. And life doesn't end after 40 years old or 50 years old or 60 years old or even 70 years old. You are only as old as you act. And you can start over and hit the reset button at any age, at any time. And you can do anything your heart desires. You can achieve any goal you set for yourself, whether it's climbing a mountain, whether it is sailing around the world in a sailboat, whether it's putting on a bikini and stepping on stage for a bikini competition or a bodybuilding competition, or starting a new career, or selling everything you own and driving around the country to visit every state in the country. Whatever your dream is, whatever your big, hairy, audacious goal is, you're never too old to say, heck yeah, let's do this. And I hope that you will say, heck yeah, let's do this. And I hope that you will make sure that you have the support system in place and that you have thought it through and you have the plan and that you're being intentional and you're building the habits that are going to help you achieve greatness. And I hope that you will tell me in the comments down below what your big, hairy, audacious goal is. You don't need a bikini competition, but you do need something that will challenge you. And that's what life is all about. It's all about growing and becoming stronger in our faith and in our character and in our wisdom. And that happens when we live life fully and when we take a chance. It doesn't happen when we hide in our little stagnant box and we don't do anything different ever. Okay? If this video hits home with you, drop a comment below. I want to know what you think about it. I want to know what's on your mind about it. I'd love to hear what challenge you're taking on. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please take a minute to do so now. And be sure to hit that little bell so that you get notified every time I put a new video out on this channel. All right? Thanks for watching. Have a fantastic day and go be awesome.